today with my favorite movie of the year, Parasite. At this time, please join me in welcoming the film's producer, co-writer, director for his, you know his for his previous films, Memories of Murder, Mother, and of course, Okja. For his work on Parasite, he's received the Palme d'Or, 4 BAFTA nominations, 2 Golden Globe nominations, and the film, well, he's personally received 3 Academy Award nominations, including 1 for Best Picture. Please welcome Bong Joon Ho. Thank you so much for being here. Congratulations. This journey really started almost a year ago at Cannes, where you won the Palme d'Or.
Yeah.
And here you are almost a year later talking about it.
옆에 우리 통역해 주시는 샤론 양도 있지만 벌써 깐네에서부터 한 8개월 됐고 북미로 따지면 텔루라이드로부터 해서 한 6개월 정도 됐네요. 긴 여정이네요.
So it's been around 8 months already since Cannes, and in North America 6 months from Telluride. So it's been a very long journey.
Yeah, it's almost done. And then so good to see you again.
You too.
Yeah.
And forgive me, I forgot to introduce Sharon, who's honestly become as famous as Bong at this point. I do want to start at the beginning, though, with Cannes, because you not only won the Palme d'Or, it was a unanimous decision. I'm not sure if that's ever happened before. And it was the first South Korean film to do so.
예, 그렇죠. 한국에선 최초였고 또 만장일치인데 이때 그 심사위원 중에 감독님들이 많았어요. 그 이나리뚜 감독님이 심사위원장이었고 또 요르고스 란티모스나 또 켈리 라이카트 같은 훌륭한 감독님들이 동료 감독님들이 많았기 때문에 더 기뻤던 것 같아요.
Yeah, so it was the first Korean film to win the Palme d'Or, and particularly there were a lot of directors amongst the jury. Iñárritu was the president, there was Yorgos Lanthimos, Kelly Reichardt, so I was very happy that these filmmakers voted unanimously for the film.
I know, I just noticed that we could go over backwards. And there's a very small net here that I don't think is going to protect us. So I will pay attention to my posture. Yeah, you're more going to lean forward. I just have to touch on this because it's been such a whirlwind couple of weeks, but last week you guys made history. The film's cast won the SAG Ensemble Award, the first foreign film ever to do so, only the second to be nominated.
방금 영화 보셨겠지만 우리 배우들이 정말 자랑스러워요. 너무 잘했고요.
So you all must have felt it while watching the film. I'm so proud of my actors. They were so great.
그래서 모르겠으니까 미국이나 프랑스에서 또 일본에서도 좋은 반응이 있는데 그게 우리가 물론 자막을 열심히 만들고 또 프로모션도 열심히 하고 이런 것도 있겠지만 무엇보다도 배우들 덕분인 것 같아요. 그러니까 배우들이 보여주는 얼굴의 표현이라든가 또 바디 랭귀지라든가 이런 것들 하나하나가 그런 거야말로 사실 제일 이제 만국 공통어 같은 거잖아요. 유니버설한 거니까 배우들의 덕이 크지 않을까 이 호소력이.
So the film was received really well in the US, France, and Japan, and a part of it is the effort we put into subtitles and just the sheer amount of promotion that we did. But I think more than anything else, it's really thanks to the actors, the expressions on their faces, their body language, all those elements you see of them on screen. That's the truly universal language. And so I think a large part, it's all thanks to the actors.
I had a really good feeling because just when your cast came out to present, they got a standing ovation. I've never seen people get a standing ovation just for presenting. And then the best part was, and this has happened at other shows I've noticed, when they won and went out to accept, you were filming the whole thing. And people have fallen in love with you taking pictures everywhere you go. Please tell me all those photos and videos will be on the DVD.
유치원에 간 학부모 같다고 누가 그렇게 인터넷에 써놓은 것도 봤는데 저도 애를 아들을 키웠지만 좀 그런 감정이기도 하고.
So I've seen people on the internet describing me as a parent at a kindergarten. I have a son myself too, but that is kind of how I feel.
Yeah.
I will put every clip to the special feature.
Yes, thank you.
Many crazy clip I have in my life.
No, and I saw you last night at the DGA Awards. You were filming Quentin Tarantino, so it's not just your cast. You're a fan of other filmmakers.
그 타란티노 항상 스피치 할 때 되게 열정적이고 그 표현 같은 것들이 너무 재밌어서 항상 찍게 되더라고요. 그리고 아침에 그 DJ 오전에 그 DJ 패널 할 때는 또 스콜세지 감독님이 뉴욕에서 이제 오질 뭐 사정상 못 오시고 화면으로 참석하셨는데 스콜세지님의 그것도 이제 찍어놓은 것들이 있는데 화면을 찍은 거지만 정말 어떤 좋은 영화 강의를 마스터 클래스를 듣는 느낌이어서 되게 좋았었어요.
So Tarantino is always so passionate with his speeches, and he has a fun way of expressing himself. So I always find myself filming him. And that morning yesterday, we had the DJ panel, and Scorsese was in New York, couldn't make it, and so we connected with him through Skype, and he was on the screen. I shot a photo of the screen with his face on it, and it really felt like I was listening to a great master class from him.
Wow, that is so cool. I love that you're all fans of each other because directors really love you. Like, I'll go to an event and like Brad Pitt will be in the corner and everyone's flocking this guy.
뭐라고 소위 말하는 뭐 캠페인이라고 해야 될지 이거 되게 이런 긴 홍보 과정을 뭐 북미에서 처음 해보는 것 같은데 몸은 지치지만 마음상으로는 그런 것들 때문에 되게 좋은 것 같아요. 그러니까 여러 아티스트들 훌륭한 필름메이커들이나 이제 배우들을 많이 만나게 되니까 되게 자연스럽게 또 반복적으로 일주일에 스콜세지를 5번 본 날도 있었어요.
So it's been, a long promotional journey, this so-called campaign, and it's my first time participating in it. So physically, it is quite exhausting, but mentally and emotionally, it's been great because of that reason. Throughout this journey, you run into a lot of filmmakers and actors and artists very naturally and very often. There was a week where I saw Scorsese 5 times.
Wow, that's amazing. I want to go back to the beginning of Parasite. I'm curious, what was sort of the initial spark of an idea for this movie? I know that all films are a little autobiographical, maybe not completely, but I know you actually were a tutor at one point.
Yeah, a little bit.
Yeah.
I never killed people or.
Would you tell us if you had?
과외 많이 하잖아요. 한국에서도 과외 많이 하는데 대학생들이 저도 뭐 부잣집 과외를 했던 적이 있고 그 집 부잣집 남자 중학생을 가르친 적이 있는데 부모님들도 좀 독특하셨고 여러 가지 기억들이 있죠.
So it's common to have tutoring jobs when you're in college. It's the same in Korea. I tutored a middle school boy for a very rich family, and his parents were quite unique too. I have a lot of memories of those times.
Actually, at that time, my girlfriend was already worked there, and then she introduced me to the family, as second, another 다른 과목 선생으로 나를 소개시켜 준 거고.
She introduced me as the tutor for another subject.
저는 또 다른 우리 같은 과의 다른 친구를 또 다른 과목으로 또 하나 소개시켜서 이렇게 같이 들어가려고 했는데 그 전에 제가 잘렸어요 직전에서 그냥 거기서 딱 스톱이 됐는데.
So I tried to introduce another friend in my class so that he could teach another subject, but I couldn't proceed with the plan because I was fired right away.
Were you guys upfront? Did they know she was your girlfriend, or did you have to pretend like? You were just
그
friends.
친구라는 건 알고 그걸 숨기진 않았어요. 근데 나중에 가서 그 친구가 이제 지금 저의 와이프거든요. 그러니까 뭐 나중에 가족이 되긴 된 건데 약간 영화랑은 이 선후 관계가 반대인 거네.
So we didn't hide the fact that we were friends, but that girlfriend is now my wife, and so we did become a true family. The causality is a little bit opposite, backwards.
Did you spend writing the script? I'm curious if it percolated for years, or you actually just sat down and it all came out.
The very first idea came to me 2013 winter time during the post-production of Snowpiercer. It's also a story about Lee Chen-poo in the running train, so maybe the similar subject matter, but very different way of approach. It was 2013, so actually 4.5 years is in my mind, growing on and developing in my head during shooting Okja, another movie, the movie between the Snowpiercer and the Parasite. And actual screenwriting with my laptop, the physical typewriting. It was 4.5 months
Oh,
in
really?
2017 autumn and winter. The funny thing is, during 4 years, there was no basement and there is no bunker, and the hidden husband in the bunker there never exist during 4 years. All those kind of second half of the story suddenly came to me in the very last 3 months. Yeah.
Wow, so you thought you had it all planned out in your head and you sat down to write it and then this idea struck you?
Actually, the very first day of the physical, the actual screenwriting, I have no idea of basement and the bunker and husband and the very last part, the Morse code, the letter between the father and son, it never exists. I didn't know. 그러니까 어떻게 끝날지 모르고 그냥 시작한 건데, 근데 이제 시작해서 한 달쯤 됐을 때 그런 것들이 다 오게 돼가지고 한 석 달 만에 총 합해서 한 넉 달 만에 다 완성하게 됐죠.
So I began writing not knowing how this would end, and then a month into my writing process, all those ideas came to me, so I spent the next 3 months figuring out those ideas, so it took 4 months in
Yeah.
total.
I was lucky.
That's amazing. And I know once you sort of had the script and those twists, you really wanted to preserve the privacy of it, even from your actors, I understand.
Yeah. The actor who 그 저기 벙커 남편, 그 지하실 남편 그 사람은 이제 존재 자체가 스포일링이잖아요. 그 어딘가에 이제 뭐 미디어 하는 장소에 나타나면은 뭐 무슨 역이에요? 그럼 아 저는 그 부잣집 지하에 이렇게 되니까. 예.
So the man, the secret husband in the bunker, his existence itself is a spoiler. If he goes to a press room and a reporter asks him, so what role are you playing? He'll have to be like, oh, there's a bunker in the rich house and I'm in that bunker.
그래서 그 처음 개봉 한국과 프랑스에서 제일 먼저 개봉했는데 처음 개봉할 때 첫 개봉 한 3주 때까지 그 사람을 계속 숨겨야 돼가지고 그분이 좀 고생을 했어요. 그래서 그 칸네 영화제에서 프리미어 상영할 때도 혼자 저와 배우들과 따로 떨어져가지고 레드 카펫을 못 하고 그 칸네 그 리미에르 극장 2층 구석에 숨어가지고 혼자 이렇게 보다가 불 켜지기 전에 먼저 빠져나가고 뭐 이런 식으로 우리가 행동 그 프로토콜을 줬어요.
So the film was released first in Korea and France, and for the first 3 weeks of the release, we had to hide him. So he had quite a hard time. Even when we premiered the film at Cannes, he couldn't go on the red carpet. He watched the film at the Lumiere, at a corner of the Lumiere on the second floor, and he had to leave before the lights came on.
그렇지만 이제 나중에 이제 공개 시점이 됐을 때 이제 한국 개봉 한 3주차, 4주차였나? 뭐 직접 같이 우리가 관객들 앞에서 영화 본 관객들 앞에서 무대 인사도 해주고 되게 스포트라이트를 많이 받았어요. 그래서 그 2달 전인가는 한국에서 이제 되게 유명해져가지고 원래 알려지지 않은 미지의 배우였었는데 이제는 유명해져서 최근에 화장품 광고까지 찍었어요.
So when we decided to, reveal him 3 or 4 weeks into the release in Korea, we did a lot of Q&As and introductions, and we were with him on stage with the audience who had just seen the film. We really focused the spotlight on him. And before this film, he was an unknown actor, but now he's quite famous. He recently shot a cosmetics commercial.
It's quite shocking. 화장품 광고를 찍다니. 근데 되게 멋있어요.
It's quite shocking that he shot a commercial for cosmetic products, beauty products, but I mean, he looked great.
He's also a SAG Award winner.
그렇죠. 예, 그 앙상블 어워드니까 우리 그 영화에 나온 부잣집 그 아이들까지 포함해서 10명이 다 공식적인 노미네이션이 됐었던 거니까 무척 기쁩니다. 다 그 SAG 어워드 위너니까요.
Yeah, because he was part of the ensemble. All 10 members of the cast, including the little boy and the rich family, they were all officially nominated. So I was
So
very
cool.
happy. They're all SAG winners.
So that's really great. I mean, it's such a true ensemble. Although, you've worked with some of the actors in this movie before. You and Song Kang-ho, this was your 4th collaboration, I believe?
Yeah, during my first working with him was Memories of Murder 2003. So during almost 17 years, we worked 4 times, and also original housekeeper 이전은.
Yeah.
She was a very small role in Mother, but she did a wonderful job, and she was Okja.
She's the voice of Okja.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's so
You know very
crazy.
well. Yeah, so 그 타이틀롤이지 뭐 어떻게 따지면은.
She played the title role.
목소리만 나오긴 했지만.
Although it's just her voice.
근데 그 정말 그분이 실제로 그 무대 연극도 많이 하는 분이고 또 뮤지컬도 많이 하는데 노래도 아주 잘 부르고 목소리의 마술사예요.
So she actually does a lot of theater and musicals, and she's a great singer. She's a magician with voice.
And the young son of the poor family, the son, I worked with him before in Okja.
Right.
He was very crazy truck driver.
Yeah.
Who runs the mirandoisfucked.com. But all the other 7 actors I worked very first time.
Wow.
Yeah.
And you made them sign non-disclosure agreements when they just before they read the script, was it?
Yeah.
Oh wow.
그 미국에서는 NDA 쓰는 게 되게 흔하다고 하는데 한국은 좀 흔하지 않아서 배우들이 처음에 좀 한국에선 특이한 경우라 낯설어 하더라고요. 그런데 그때부터 이미 그 스포일링, 특히 영화의 후반부에 대해서 숨겨야 된다는 그 제가 그 옵세션이 되게 강했던 것 같아요. 배우들이나 스태프들한테도 NDA 쓰고 되게 부탁을 많이 했고 아까 얘기한 것처럼 칸네 영화제에서나 프랑스, 한국 개봉할 때도 이제 후반부를 먼저 보신 관객분들은 후반부 얘기를 하지 말아달라 라고 얘기를 했었죠.
So I know that it's pretty common to sign an NDA in the States, but that's not the case in Korea. So at first the actors found it was an exception, and people were a little unfamiliar with the process. But ever since the beginning, I was very obsessive of avoiding spoilers and hiding the second half of the film. So I made all the actors and crew members sign an NDA and asked everyone to keep the secret. And so when we premiered at Cannes and the film was released in France and Korea, I pleaded with the audience who had watched the film not to reveal the twist.
And people have been so respectful about that too. I don't want to spoil it for anyone, but I do love to see the movie with people who haven't seen it before and watch them. When I know what's coming.
그 부잣집 지하에 벙커가 있고 거기 숨겨놓은 가정부의 남편이 있다는 걸 이미 알고 와서 영화를 보기 시작한다면 그 남편이 등장할 때까지의 그 1시간이란 그 러닝 타임이 그 퍼스트 하프 1시간이 그 느낌 되게 좀 안 좋을 것 같아요. 이상할 것 같아요. 그 되게 지루하게 느껴질 것 같고.
So if people watch the film knowing that there's a secret husband in the bunker of this rich house, I think the first hour of the film would feel very boring.
And it definitely does not. A lot has been made, rightfully so, about the production design of this movie. It's so fantastic. You actually built the house from scratch. Was that out of necessity, or you just couldn't find the house you wanted, or?
Actually, 그 부잣집을 섭외하는 것 자체 워낙 힘들고 뭐 가서 하루만 찍고 빠져나오는 거면 모를까. 뭐 영화의 60%가 부잣집인데 거의 한 달 이상 찍어야 될 텐데 그렇게 섭외하는 것도 사실 힘들 뿐더러 구조가 제가 원하는 구조가 정확히 돼야만 이 스토리를 전개시킬 수 있기 때문에
First of all, it's quite hard to find an actual rich house to shoot in unless you're like shooting there only for a day, because 60% of the narrative happens in this rich house. We would have to spend at least a month there, and so that was difficult. But from the script writing stage, I knew that in order to tell this narrative, I had the exact structure that I wanted.
누가 여기서 말할 때 이쪽에서 엿들을 수 있어야 되고 뭐 이쪽 코너를 돌면은 이쪽이 안 보여야 되고 뭐 예를 들어 뭐 테이블 밑에서 기어 나오면 주차장 가는 계단으로 빨리 이제 내려갈 수 있어야 되고 이런 인물의 핵심적인 동선이 이제 물리적으로 갖춰져 있어야만 스토리를 전개할 수 있기 때문에 애초에 이거는 아무리 로케이션 스카우팅 하고 다녀봤자 소용없다라는 거를 처음부터 모두가 다 인정했었고 그래서 시나리오 마무리할 때부터 이제 미술 감독과 되게 긴밀하게 서로 맞춰 나가면서 작업을 했죠.
So I had all these geographical requirements in terms of the core blocking of these characters. If someone is talking there, another character should eavesdrop from here. If someone turns the corner, they should, lose sight of a certain part of the house. If someone underneath the coffee table needs to crawl out the house, they need to, they need to go towards the stairs for the garage. And so we knew that we wouldn't be able to find this just by location scouting, and we kind of all acknowledged that from the very beginning. So as soon as I finished the script, I worked very closely with the production designer to come up with the structure.
그래서 이제 서울이 아닌 지방 도시에 있는 이제 넓은 그 영화 세트장용 땅이 있어요. 그 땅에 우리가 잔디를 심고 정원을 만들고 부잣집 1층을 만들었죠. 그리고 이제 지하실이나 벙커, 그다음에 세컨 플로어 내부 같은 경우는 별도의 이제 내부 사운드 스테이지에 따로 지은 거고요. 촬영 끝나고 사흘 만에 다 부셨죠.
So there's an open field at a city that's far from Seoul that's specifically for film sets. So we planted the grass, created the garden, built the first floor of the house, and then the second floor interior, the bunker, the basement, they were all built on separate sound stages. The house was demolished 4 days after we wrapped
It breaks
production.
my heart. That's so heartbreaking. If directing doesn't work out, you should look into architecture because I would love to live in that house. It's beautiful.
정말 아름답게 잘 지어졌는데 우리 미술 감독의 공인 것 같아요. 저는 그 기본적인 동선만 아까 얘기했던 그 포지셔닝만 계속 요구한 거고 집에 보여지는 구체적인 룩이나 아름다운 부분 이런 것들은 다 우리 미술 감독이 훌륭하게 해낸 거고. 그래서 이번에 그 우리 미술 감독이 그 노미네이션이 됐어요. 오스카에서 되게 기뻤어요.
So it's a beautiful house, but it's all thanks to the production designer. All I, gave was these demands in terms of the blocking and the positioning and the structure, the actual look of the house and the beautiful design. The production designer came up with all of it, so I was very happy that he was nominated for Best Production Design.
Me too, because he also built the whole poor neighborhood.
Yeah, the poor the Kim family house,
Yeah.
semi basement, and all the neighbors, the 5, 6 houses, the line of 6 poor house left and right, all 12, 13 houses we built it in the middle of water tank. So
So that you could flood it.
yeah, we
Wow.
put the very clean water there. Very clean, and just look dirty, and yeah, it's very clean one. Yeah.
That's amazing. I mean, I don't want to live there, but it still is equally amazing.
그 정말 세트 그 칸네에서 이나리투 감독님도 이제 시상식 후에 얘기할 때 거기가 세트라는 걸 전혀 상상을 못 하셨나 봐요. 그 세트라고 했더니 놀라시더라고요. 근데 그만큼 리얼하게 만들기 위해서 미술팀이 노력을 많이 했죠. 그 실제 철거되는 그러니까 실제 그런 철거되는 동네에서 어떤 문짝이나 재료 같은 것들 많이 띄워와서 그대로 쓰기도 했고, 그러니까 실제 시간에 때가 묻은 재료들이 거기 들어가 있는 거죠. 그리고 뭐 너무 좀 리얼함에 집착을 해서 막 그 실제 음식물 쓰레기 봉투도 갖다 놓고, 그러니까 막 진짜 파리들이 거기 꼬여들고 막 냄새도 나고 이랬죠.
So even after the Cannes ceremony, Inaritu came to me, and he seemed very surprised to learn that it was a set that we built. He didn't imagine that it was something that we built, and that reflects just the sheer amount of effort we put in to make sure that it looks realistic. The art department, they actually went to neighborhoods scheduled to be demolished and reconstructed to take the doors and the materials to build our set with. So they really reflect the trace of time and the ageness that these materials had. And he was so obsessed with making sure that everything was realistic that he brought actual food trash onto the set, and so it started smelling. We started getting real flies swarming in.
But the water was clean.
Yeah, very clean water. 그 흙탕물처럼 보이게 하는 그 재료를 넣었어요. 그러니까 그 머드팩 재료 같은 걸 넣어서 색깔을 그렇게 만든 거지. 물은 되게 깨끗한.
So we added in facial mud masks to give it that brownish, dirty
Nice.
look, but it was very clean.
Wow, and everyone came out with great skin.
Yeah,
Yeah.
exactly.
You want to take a couple quick questions from the audience? If you have one, just raise your hand. And sure, we'll start with you.
A little bit more about how you found the twist in. You obviously started, you were going to make a movie that you had in your head. Did you feel like it didn't have a satisfying ending, or did that just occur to you in a lightning flash, the twist?
Or did you have another ending plan?
Yeah. 그 4년간 한 3, 4년 정도 머릿속에서 이제 계속 없었잖아요. 뒤에 지금의 이런 결말이나 이런 게 없는 상태였는데, 그때는 이제 그 10페이지 정도의 시놉시스가 있었는데 거기는 이제 후반부가 되게 여러 가지 다른 몇 가지 버전이 있었어요.
So for 3-4 years, I didn't have the current ending you see in the film. At the time, I had a 15-page treatment, and there were various versions of what could happen later on.
그래서 그 후반부에 엔딩이 명확하진 않았어도 어쨌든 후반부에 대한 다른 컨셉트나 조건들이 있었죠. 근데 또 어쨌든 지하실의 남편, 그러니까 어떻게 보면 이게 두 가족 얘기인 척하지만 사실은 세 가족 얘기잖아요. 그게 핵심인데 그 세 가족의 세팅은 없었어요. 그러니까 오로지 두 가족만 놓고 이런저런 여러 가지 버전의 이제 후반부가 있었죠.
So although I didn't have a clear ending and what would happen in the second half, I did have various other ideas and concepts. The key part of the story is that although it pretends to be about two families, it's actually about three families, and I didn't have that three family setup at the time. I had various versions of what would happen to those two families.
First half was always same. This is the infiltration of four family members one by one, and they complete the infiltration, and first half is over. And then what happened is 뭐 이런 버전도 있어. 이들이 집을 다 장악했는데 이 가족들이 하나씩 집으로 올 때마다 이상한 실수와 우연과 여러 가지가 겹치면서 하나씩 계속 죽이게 되는 거야. 그래서 그 넷을 마당에 부잣집 네 식구를 마당에 파묻은 상태에서 이들이 계속 집에 머물러 있는데 점점.
So the other version I had was this poor family, completely takes over the rich house, and due to all these coincidences and mistakes, they end up killing the rich family one by one, and the film ends with the four dead rich family members buried under the ground in their garden.
And then have you ever heard the word hikikomori, the Japanese term of 그 집에만 몇 년간 머물러 있는 사람들을 가리키는 사람들 히키코모리라고 하는데.
So hikikomori basically means hermits who stay in their homes and never leave for years.
이들 네 가족들이 집단 히키코모리가 되는 거죠.
So the entire family becomes a collective of hikikomoris who never leave the house.
그래서 이들이 부잣집에 계속 살면서 점점 그 부자들화 되는 거예요. 이렇게 트랜스폼을 뭐 메타모포시스라고 해야 되나 뭐라 해야 되나 어쨌든 그런 형태 변형을 하게 되는 거죠.
So that family, they continue to live in the rich house and go through this metamorphosis of becoming this rich family.
This sounds very sci-fi or very Kafka style. 그래서 내가 좋아하는 스타일은 아니었어요. 근데 이제 그래서 이 세 번째 가족에 대한 컨셉이 오면서부터 이 막혔던 모든 것들이 확 풀렸던 것 같아요.
So that wasn't a concept or idea that I really liked. So once this third family came into the picture, it was a huge relief. It felt like the blockage was just gone.
Wow. Do we have another question up? Sure, right there.
How difficult or easy was it to put your financing together?
Putting the financing together.
제가 이제 그 괴물 이제 7편의 영화를 찍었는데 괴물 때까지가 좀 파이낸싱에 어려움이 있었고요. 첫 번째 영화가 되게 심하게 박스오피스 대재앙을 맞아서 살인의 추억 때는 이제 우리 한국에서 슈퍼스타인 송강호 배우 덕분에 파이낸싱이 됐던 것 같고 살인의 추억은 성공적이었지만 이제 괴물 영화를 찍는다고 하니까 다들 우려하면서 무슨 괴물이 나오는 걸 어떻게 찍냐 해서 또 되게 어려움이 있었는데 거기까지였던 것 같아요. 괴물의 흥행 성공 이후에는 저는 파이낸싱에 별 어려움은 없었고요.
So I made 7 feature films until now, and until The Host, I did experience difficulty getting my films financed. My first feature film was a huge box office disaster, and so my next film, Memories of Murder, was financed pretty much thanks to Song Kang-ho, the lead actor. And although Memories of Murder did really well box office wise, when I said I wanted to do The Host, people were very worried. How are you going to, make this creature movie? But my difficulty with financing sort of ended there. After the success of The Host, I didn't really have a hard time.
특히 이제 이 영화는 그 설국열차나 옥자에 비해서 상대적으로 예산이 적었기 때문에 되게 쉽게 파이낸싱을 할 수는 있었고 대신 이제 영화 내용이 좀 이상하잖아요. 그리고 되게 관객 입장에서 좀 뭔가 적나라하고 불편한 면이 있을 수도 있고 논쟁적인 요소가 있기 때문에 제가 얘기를 했죠. 오히려 처음 시나리오를 줄 때 그 파이낸서가 스튜디오 쪽에 이거 되게 이상할 영화니까 이해한다. 니네가 리젝트 해도 대신 리젝트 할 건 빨리 얘기해달라. 그랬더니 바로 다음 날 전화 와서 하겠다고 하더라고요.
particularly with Parasite, the budget was relatively smaller compared to Snowpiercer and Okja, and so it was pretty easy to get it financed. But I did know that it's a very strange story for the audience. It could feel a little bit too honest, uncomfortable, and can get quite controversial. So when I handed the script to the studio, I told them that it's a strange story, so I understand if you reject it, just tell me as soon as possible. And the next day they called me to say they would do it.
Wow, that's amazing. And I'm sure I'm not the first person to point this out, but you've gone from the host to Parasite. It's, I guess, is there another?
Yeah. That because of the title,
Yeah.
Host and Parasite, many people, some
Yeah.
어떤 영화 매체 사람들 이게 무슨 시퀄 생각한 분도 있고 막 그랬었어요.
Some people in the film press thought that it would be a sequel to The Host.
Well, because Song Kang-ho is also
Yeah,
in both.
that's
Yeah.
the same actor.
Think
Yeah.
of it as a spiritual sequel. We do have to go. We're out of time. But before we do, this movie has, I can go over and over all the accolades that it's received. But also, it's so funny. It's so tragic. You keep this wonderful balance of tone. But have you been at all surprised by how much it's been embraced by movie-going public in all these different countries? I mean, was there one country that you thought, like, it might not play great in France? I don't know why.
아니 사실 전혀 예상을 못했었어요. 그래서 지금 물론 너무 기분이 좋지만 또 약간 놀랍기도 하고 되게 한국적인 뉘앙스나 디테일이 가득한 영화라고 생각했었고 이렇게 국제적으로 많이 보여지게 될 줄은 몰랐어요. 근데 한국 영화 역사상 가장 많이 해외에서 많은 관객을 동원한 영화가 되고 말았죠. 좀 신기한 일인 것 같아요. 근데 모르겠어요. 그건 차차 앞으로 저도 더 생각해 봐야 될 것 같아요. 왜 그렇게 됐는지. 근데 또 그럼 이런 영화를 더 만들어야지라고 꼭 이후에도 제가 무슨 목표를 세운다고 해서 꼭 그렇게 되는 건 아닌 것 같고 의도와 결과란 게 어떻게 되는 건지 저도 잘 모르겠어요. 그러니까 그냥 심플해지려고 노력하고 있어요. 항상 저와 제가 하고자 하는 스토리가 그냥 1대1로 단순하고 투명한 상태에서 스토리를 마주하기를 바랄 뿐이고 다른 어떤 잡생각은 있을 수 없는 것 같아요.
So I definitely didn't expect it at all. I'm obviously very happy, and it's still surprising because I thought that this film was filled with just Korean nuances and details. I had no idea it would be so embraced by the international community, and now it's out of all Korean films, it's garnered the most amount of the highest number of audiences across the globe. So I'm very surprised, and I think I will need some time to really reflect on why that happened. But I do know that this didn't happen because I aimed to create a film like this, and I don't think life really works that way. I'm not really sure what the relationship is between an artist's intentions and the result that the film sees. I just try to have a simple mindset with all of this. Ultimately, it's about the one-on-one, simple, transparent relationship between myself and my story. And all I can hope for is for me to face my story in that simple and transparent way without having all those unnecessary thoughts.
Wow. I want to thank Sharon and Director Bong for being here. Thank you guys so much for being here.
감사합니다. Thank you.